Get out. Get out of this podcast right now. He's gone. He's
actually gone.
He's gone. He's gone.
He's actually gone. For those of you who don't know, we're joined by a guest this week on the podcast. We're joined by Lunch Money, not to be confused by the man famed hit I Got Bills. It's Lunch Money from 404 Games Not Found, famed YouTube channel once a long time ago. For
very dead YouTube channel nowadays.
Why would you neglect?
Not even making a resurgence.
Why would you neglect a YouTube channel? Like, who would do that? Like, you know.
Yeah, I know, right? Money to be made.
Anyway,
about that, we're not partnered anymore, are we? We're officially.
It's officially we're on the streets. Like, this is it. It's official. We're on the streets. We are no longer partnered. And with that, let's cue the intro.
Yeah, play the music. Give us those sponsors, please. This is the part where I'm sat for lunch and sit in silence so you can't hear what's going on.
It's literally pointless playing the intro because like, you just talk over it every time. I put a lot of work into editing that down.
Well, you just sit here in silence. It's so weird.
I could relay the sounds, but I'm not going to.
I mean, if you wanted to in the future, you could just like send your guest a copy of it, and I'd press play at the same time. Then
Yeah.
It's finished.
It's not a bad idea, actually, to be honest. It's like when you watch a YouTube video with someone online, just like, oh, let's press play together now. Just like, but the thing is, though, there's apps that let you do that sort of stuff. Anyway, welcome back to Cool Story, bro. Yeah, there's apps you can watch YouTube videos with people at the same time.
Oh man, I wish I knew that.
There's even Steam games where you can sit in there with like avatars, like in a cinema and that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of those.
I've seen that
a bit
for like
weird though.
Yeah, you can get like VR cinemas, can't you, and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to episode 3. We're not streaming The Office as we did a live stream last week. We're gonna ditch that on here.
About?
It says I put in the game as podcast, and then cause it asks you to fill in details on YouTube, and then for some reason it just says The Office. It's really funny, so I've just kind of left it there.
Fair enough.
So comments from last week. Some comments are missing because it's a live stream, and not all the live chat gets moved over. I don't know what YouTube decides to do with the live chat after it just kind of disappears.
In the ether somewhere.
Oh no, that's it. The live chat's on the right and the comment section is separate. That's it. Sawtooth says, next thing you know, I'm the guest for the next episode.
I beat him.
Yes, you did.
Only a first.
Hello, Sawtooth. Thanks for the comment.
Mike the Roman says, by the way, you guys going to keep doing the Clay Soldiers mod? That didn't take long. Well, that didn't take long for that question, did it?
It didn't. Well, lucky for you, mate.
Well, as of this podcast releasing, there will already be, or there already is, a Clay Soldiers mod video out.
Yeah, we released one today, actually, this morning at 2 a.m. US time, because we're really prioritizing when people are, online, because we're so professional now.
We're not in this algorithm game, just like...
We're not.
Although this is going to go out on the 23rd. So that is going to be 2 days of video from the Sneaky Bros. Just saying.
Yes. Wow. You know what? We've not been late yet with this podcast. We're always a little bit early. So
yeah, it'll go out late, but we've recorded it on time, like on the Sunday. So yeah, it's all things are going good at the moment. Sawtooth also says he remembers the Red Ring of Death because we were talking about glitches and just general failures in video games and stuff like that.
Interesting.
You were a WoW player, Joe, weren't you?
A WoW player, yes.
And do you remember the curse? You didn't play during the plague?
During the plague, but I remember reading about it and being completely blown away by how it worked. I was also watching that podcast and just going, no, it was wrong. You were doing it with a pet, and then I was so happy when a girl came in and was like, no, it was a pet, and I was like, yes.
You know what?
I didn't even play WoW either. I just done my research.
You know what? I actually watched back our podcast, and there's so many information bits that we get wrong, Vale. We are terrible journalists. We are so bad at this game, but this is the reason why we're here.
It's lucky I'm not a journalist. It's my main job, eh? Kappa. Mike the Roman also said, "Hey, I've been watching since season 1 of The Clay Soldier." So yeah, thanks for sticking around for all these years.
Surprised you're still here.
You've been with us from the start. Before we were partnered, we're now on the streets, living it.
I need money.
Oh my god!
I'm not gonna lie, I need money.
But are we going to turn into the Logan Paul brothers? Like, buy my merch, buy my merch. Was that what's going to happen?
I mean, you guys actually got a donation during your last live stream.
We did, yeah. We got a super chat from Jim G Plays. Big shout out.
I saw that, and I was like, holy hell! I didn't realize you could do that on YouTube. I'm so out of this game.
Called super chats on YouTube. Yeah, called super chats.
We've been streaming recently on Twitch, and we got a bit of a following, and then I got lazy again and came back to YouTube. So
yeah, it's but you were playing. In fact, we haven't talked about it on the podcast. You've been playing formerly Twitch Balls, but Marbles on Stream, as it's called now.
Yes, where you race marbles down a track with your Twitch viewers. It's a very interesting game.
It was never meant to be a game, though, was it?
No, it was meant to be more of a way to pick a winner. So, you would have all your viewers in there, and then you would have a prize at the end, and you would send all the balls down, and you'd pick a winner. But it turned into this massive gaming community, and everyone's friends, and everyone's having a good time. And yeah, we're partnered with Pixel by Pixel Studios for another week. We've been partnered with them now for 2 months, so we'll see what happens with the relationship. It's been good so far. Yeah,
if you want to check out their videos, go to the Pixel by Pixel channel. We'll link to it in the description. You can check out the top 10 videos that Ziglag's been doing, and some of the trailers as well, and a troll video as well.
Been a lot of fun delving into different kind of videos, because SneakyBros always like to try something new every now and then, even though sometimes it doesn't work out, but it's fun.
Yeah. So let's look at some gaming news for this week then. There's quite a lot of interesting things have been said this week. First things first though, Red Dead Redemption 2 rumours coming out this week. There are very strong rumours that a group from the Press Association have been shown gameplay footage of Red Dead Redemption 2. So that could be hitting our screens hopefully this week at some point if they've been shown gameplay footage already. I'm pretty excited. It's been It's been now the game is 3 months away and we haven't seen any gameplay footage.
We have. There's been some trailers of the single player.
Yeah, but not proper, just outright gameplay footage.
Yeah, you're right. It's all been like the animated cinematic kind of things.
Yeah,
like like the game cutscenes.
Yeah.
You played GTA and Lunch Money, and you've played the online a little bit. I've seen some of your videos. What do you think of the whole Rockstar take on like abandoning the single player aspects now for DLC and mainly focusing on the multiplayer updates? For example, I'm pretty sure next week they're dropping the Ballad of Gay Tony's next installment.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that today, actually. I love the ending of the trailer where he said you can't say that anymore because it's not PC.
Yeah.
That would make me laugh quite a bit. I think it's pretty much a smart move for longevity of a game, because the amount of time it takes to make these single player campaigns and like all the art assets and everything that goes into them has to be so much longer than creating essentially a hub for a multiplayer world, which then your fans will create their own content in and give you even more publicity on your game.
Yes.
So in terms of how quickly they can pump them out, it's got to be really a clever idea. But there are a lot of people out there who do miss the story elements.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people because I really enjoyed the GTA 4 added DLCs, where you were a biker gang, and then obviously the Ballad of Gay Tony, which were phenomenal DLC pieces.
The Ballad of Gay Tony was fantastic. Was that the one where you could get your own nightclubs and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was incredible. And I feel like Rockstar kind of innovated this whole only like online DLC thing, and they did it really well. They got a lot of criticism for it, but the way they've pulled it all off and the way it's all come together, they've made a lot of money just from microtransactions.
When you look at GTA Online and just it gets a lot of flack for how much some of the stuff costs, and with shark cards and stuff. But in reality, when you break it down, they are doing so amazingly well for an online game. Just they keep rolling out the content, keep it interesting, and it's just more and more stuff that people can play and then make videos for put on YouTube and just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Vale made a point in either the first or second episode of the podcast saying that more games nowadays are becoming purely online experiences, and I feel like Rockstar were ahead of their game now, bringing all of their DLCs into the multiplayer experience. And obviously, like you said, players are now creating their own content from, you know, it's kind of like Rockstar are creating like just like a massive online playground and go mental. So it's kind of interesting to see how it's all played out, and it's worked for them. So it's going to be interesting to see if Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to go in the same direction. I'm 50-50 on it. I think I'm going to be more involved in Red Dead Redemption 2 than GTA, just because I'm a massive fan of the whole Western thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah, the GTA Online, what's so great about it, like, it's so diverse with what you can do with GTA because of what's in the game and stuff like that. Like, for me, for example, like, me and someone I play Xbox with quite a lot, we always into like driving games and stuff like that. I've mentioned it on the podcast before, and so we do races and but then we go off-roading with trucks and stuff like that and just drive across the mountains and challenge the vehicles. And like, but then in the distance you've got people fighting with helicopters and shooting each other and running each other over, and it's all happening in the same world at the same time. It is kind of annoying when you just like, you know, you're struggling up the side of a mountain like off-roading, and then someone blows you up in a helicopter. Just like, I know you can set it to ghost mode, but it's not as fun. That added risk all the time. But yeah, looking forward to some Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay. I imagine it will follow very similar models to GTA because it's been so successful.
Yes, I'm really hoping that we're going to see some heists for multiplayer, which they have to do. Like, you know, you have
a train heist has got to happen.
Yeah.
Like, if they've missed it's 100% going to happen. There is no way they are making a cowboy game in this day and age and not
the trailer
doing
a train heist.
Yes, there is what you can see. It doesn't actually confirm it pretty much confirms it in the trailer, but if it was multiplayer, it's even better.
Sorry, I just had to name drop him, man. John Marsden was in that trailer. I was so hyped when I saw those scars on his face. I was like, wow, he's in the game. They've actually done it. This is incredible.
Yes, looking forward to it. So, in other gaming news, Resident Evil 2. You a fan, Lunch Money? Are you a fan of Resident Evil?
I did enjoy quite a bit of Resident Evils. I played a lot of the later ones, so I think the first Resident Evil I actually played was is it 3, where you're on the island in Europe.
Yeah, well, are you the sort of guy that maybe, if you really liked a game, would lean to a collector's edition or anything like that? No, maybe not necessarily Resident Evil, but say a game you was coming out. You a collector's edition kind of guy?
Entirely depends on what's in there. Like, I actually have had a couple of collectors in the past for.
Sorry, are you a collector's editions kind of guy?
No, I'm getting there. Hang on, you'll understand where I'm going with this. Just trust me. I'm going somewhere with this. Trust me.
I bought a couple of collections back in the past, especially when it comes down to what content's available. Because like one of the games that I'm really really looking forward to, especially coming out on PC now, is Monster Hunter World. Got its announcement for the 9th of August.
Yes, yeah.
I'm so stoked for that game, and I actually was like, well, Monster Hunter is my favorite franchise. I was like, I might look into buying the collector's edition for this game. What does it involve? And I was sorely disappointed to see that it's literally just armor and items to make the start of the game easier. And I was like, I'm not interested in that. I want the game to be challenging. But
can I guess what this thing you're talking about, Matt?
Go on.
They wanted to take the collector's edition a step further, so when you open the box, you get an infectious disease and you become an infected. Have they gone that far?
No, but to be honest, you might as well be infected, because the collector's edition for Resident Evil 2 will cost you $199 to purchase it, which in real money that's £151.55 at today's transfer rate.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was like Saints Row 3, where they like they had a collector's edition that was like £5,000.
Really?
What?
Wow.
There was one game that had like a £5,000 collector's edition, but you were in the game and there was other aspects. Like they just went mental. I think it was Saints Row where they had like 9 different collector's editions and they just got stupider and stupider and stupider. It was almost like a Kickstarter for collector's editions.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just having a look now to see. Here we go. Ludicrous $1 million Saints Row 4 collector's edition includes a Lamborghini, plastic surgery, and a trip to space.
Well, there you go. So if I was offered $5,000, it was $1 million.
Oh my! Plastic surgery. That's great.
Brilliant. Deep Silver are just hilarious. They're just such good fun developers.
Yeah, it's a shame that they've been kicked to the floor a little bit. So
Yeah. New trailer dropped this week for Marvel's Spider-Man. Wow. You know what? I'm not normally into the whole Marvel scene and stuff like that. Cue the hate coming my way, I know. But this game looks decent. It looks really good. I remember playing Spider-Man 2 a lot on the GameCube because it was the first New York City that was... it was free roam, so it was one of the very first free roam games I remember playing, and that was also one of the first. Yeah, you could touch because Spider-Man 1, you couldn't touch the ground, and you just kind of clung on to like air as you were. Yeah, you couldn't touch the ground in Spider-Man 1. I mean, this was like you talking PlayStation 1 sort of era, but yeah, GameCube kind of era. Spider-Man 2, absolutely great game. I remember just all the time being in that game. 100%ed that as well. First game, I think 100%ed as well.
Interesting. I didn't know you actually 100%ed that.
Yeah.
I never ludicrous amounts of time in that game. I did it, I think, a couple of times, and then spent so much time trying to recreate it. But you could swing around a streetlight. So if you came down,
that was a skill.
You would do a full loop around
that was the skill. Yeah,
I
did that once by mistake, and then spent about 2.5
What you have to do is do it from the top of the Empire State Building. That was the thing.
Wow.
It'd take you 20 minutes to climb up there, but like you got there in the end.
That was the dream. That was definitely the dream.
You know what? Thinking about it, that game had some pretty good draw distances for the time.
You could look at the whole city. Yeah, you could see.
Yeah.
Okay, the textures weren't great, but no one cared about that at the time.
Although, was it the San Andreas effect, where back in the day playing GTA San Andreas, it felt big, but then now we go back to the San Andreas map, it is tiny.
Is that the official? Is that an official term? The San Andreas effect? Is that what we're coining it when we remember a game looking great when we were younger? The San Andreas effect. It's coined right here. I can get on board with that. I remember though, when we had our first PC, when we were younger. FIFA 98 was on there, and I remember talking about this, and we were like, the graphics are amazing, like it's like real. And you look back at it now, and it's like, what?
There's like two.
What
there's like
about?
2 pixels on the screen.
But yeah, things change, and we'll probably look back in 10 years like, oh, the graphics are awful. Just like, I imagine what's going to move forwards a lot now will be things like facial movements on thing. That's something they really got to get it down in some games.
Well, Rockstar nailed that, didn't they? With LA Noire. The whole point of that game was, figuring out what these NPCs are hiding from you. So they spent a lot of money and technology with like a whole 360-degree cameras, top to bottom, and they got their actors sitting there and they're talking, and it's all real actors that they've recorded the facial animations for. It's great. It's really cool.
Yeah, in more gaming news then, come out this week, Black Ops 4 Zombies Blood of the Dead episode heads back to Alcatraz this time. So reimagine of the Mob of the Dead map, known as Blood of the Dead, which is obviously set in the famous Alcatraz prison.
Can I be honest?
Go on.
I really can't be bothered with Call of Duty anymore. Like, I know that Battle Royale mode's coming out. Yeah. No one cares anymore.
Everyone's got Battle Royale, to be honest, in their games. Speaking of Battle Royales, though, why are you talking about that?
You've set him off.
Yes, you have set me off. The Culling 2 released this week. Have you heard about this?
The
Culling 2 released this week. So the Culling 2 released. Culling 1 was great. For those who don't know what the Culling is, it's a battle royale game that's kind of been overshadowed by PUBG and all that sort of stuff. It was out a long time ago. 16 players are placed in an arena or a small island, something like that. And you've got the usual sort of things like loot, barrels, all that sort of stuff. And you've got tasks that you have to complete, such as living for a certain amount of time, killing players, traveling certain distances, interacting with the environment, and players receive something called Funk, F-U-N-C, which is their in-game currency, and you could buy upgrades and that sort of stuff.
Has some pretty good melee combat in there as well, I believe.
Yeah, so the Culling 2 dropped this week, and a week after it released, the developers have come on social media and said they are ending They are ending all support for the Culling 2. But not only are they ending all support for the Culling 2, a week after its release, they are taking it off all distribution platforms and refunding everybody that purchased the game. So it literally will not exist anymore, the Culling 2, unless people really want to keep it. I don't know why, because it's just been the biggest flop of all time, and they're talking about going back to the original Culling, and they're going to just work on their original game. They basically, I don't know too much about the game, the flaws are essentially they tried to make a PUBG Fortnite clone, and so I know that's not what people want.
So with the first Culling, like you said, it was a lot more. It was a lot more in depth. You know, it had a pretty good following. You know, it wasn't massive, but you know there was a lot of diehard Culling fans out there, and they were expecting exactly what we got for number 1, but expanded, because the first Culling, it stopped getting updates, you know, years ago, and you know the community was a bit salty, and then out of nowhere they dropped the Culling 2, and you know the fans were like, oh wow, yeah, let's see what it is. They bought it, and it's just a really tacky PS2 graphics clone of like a really cheap PUBG. There's none of the original mechanics from Culling 1, and what was really crazy about this, right, this is like how not to release a game 101, is after a week of it being released, there was 2 active players on the game on Steam. 2 players. It was a 50-50 chance of you getting that chicken dinner. Isn't that hilarious? They had two fans on the game.
That has to be the fastest drop-off in any game ever.
Yeah, it was worse than No Man's Sky. Talking about No Man's Sky, sorry, this is probably news points, actually.
It wasn't, actually.
No Man's Sky... Oh, well, here we go. No Man's Sky is next. That looks incredible. I'm not going to buy it until it's released, and
you have to wait on that one.
Well, while we're on before we go back to No Man's Sky one sec, do you want to know what the Culling 2's... sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong stats. Carry on, as you were.
Okay, so yeah, I was talking about No Man's Sky next update. I'm not going to personally buy the game until it's come out and other people have tested the update, because I just don't trust Sean Murray whatsoever. He's the new Peter Molyneux, so I'm kind of keeping my distance away from him. I don't trust him. So, but it does look interesting. The third-person mode looks smooth. It snaps just like how a Bethesda game would, and now it's full-on multiplayer. It's got, you know, your own customization for your ships, for your personal, you know, personal character you want to make. You know, there's ring planets now. There's different biomes. There's underwater stuff. You know, it looks nuts and crazy, and they've done a good job.
I was reading a Reddit post on that trailer the other day, actually, and a lot of people have been saying that quite a few of the aspects in that trailer are already in the game. Because they've been working on it and developing it over time. They didn't actually stop. I think it was Verlaine actually said that the game's quite fun. He's played a bit of it since. But it will be interesting to see if that is enough to bring it back from the dead, essentially.
Yeah, I mean...
It was one of the biggest flops ever.
Yeah, the thing with Hello Games is they're different from other devs, because we've seen it in the past where something's flopped from the beginning, and then the developers just bugger off and they just run for the hills and take all the money with them, because they're not, you know, obligated to finish that game. We've seen it time and time again on Steam. You know, we've all been there. We've all bought games, you know, getting this realization that it's not actually happening because it was too much of a big task for these small indie devs.
Yeah, we all bought DayZ.
Yeah, we all bought DayZ. So seeing Hello Games take No Man's Sky and bringing out massive updates with, you know, they even got death threats, you know what I mean? It was that big of a deal that they got death threats from the public, which I don't condone. But, you know, they put all that hate aside, they buckled down, and they're bringing out these massive updates, and they're finally, you know, this game is finally getting there.
Yeah, it's kind of, it literally has come back from the dead. I remember buying it on release day, and I couldn't even load it up. It was that bad. So I got my refund, and I've kind of not gone near it since. Still a lot of love for it, though. Just quickly jumping back to the Culling 2, I've just looked at Steam Spy. The peak daily concurrent players last week was 249 as its record. It now daily averages 2. Peak views on Twitch yesterday were 15 viewers across 3 channels on Twitch yesterday. 15 viewers. Like, even more people watch this podcast than are playing the culling.
Wow.
There's some great reviews though. There's some hilarious reviews. Best review on there, already a better game than PUBG.
He's not wrong.
But yeah, so yeah, they've that's kind of the theme for today's podcast as well. We're going to be looking at games that totally flopped, didn't quite make it, and kind of things along that line. Has anyone got one they want to kick us off with?
I'm not gonna lie, I've been awful this week. I've not researched anything, so I'm kind of hoping you guys have something that you could give to me here.
Lunch money?
Right, well, in terms of games that didn't make it or didn't actually end up coming out but got me very interested at the time was, I don't know if you guys remember it came out at E3, but Fable Legends.
Oh my
God. Did we speak about this in the podcast last? No, we were talking about it on Discord last night, actually, weren't we?
Yeah, it makes me sad thinking about that, you know, because it looks like a brilliant game.
So, am I wrong? But the way I always sort of imagined this was going to be kind of like a Fable Left 4 Dead, which just sounded amazing. Multiple classes working their way through levels.
Yeah.
I was so hyped for that, unbelievably hyped. They released trailers. It was at E3. It was a real thing, and then it just disappeared.
It was finished, like for the most part, the product was there. It was finished. It was fully done, and then they just went, nope, scrapping it. Why would you do that when you've pumped millions into a product? Like, something must have been really wrong.
Yeah, they had a free-to-play multiplayer in there as well, which saw you team up with up to 4 people, completing quests and doing objectives and stuff like that, which sounds amazing in the Fable universe. After 4 years of development and $75 million spent on the game, it was cancelled by Microsoft. And only a few weeks later, Lionhead Studios closed for good. And obviously, $75 million was spent on that one. Yeah, so that was a huge one, and obviously it's all the end of Lionhead Studios and Peter Molyneux. And almost like we planned it, we might as well move on to that, because Peter Molyneux, he's good for his flops, isn't he, and stuff like that. He moved to 22 Cans Studio and got himself started himself a Kickstarter back in 2012, I think this Kickstarter came up.
I'm sorry, where blood is starting to boil now.
Where, in fact, he got the hype for it first because they came out with Curiosity for the iPhone, What's Inside the Cube, and that was so popular. Everyone was going mad for it. And then they got inside the box, and the prize was that you were going to be you were going to be the god in Goddess, and
it never came out.
And anyway, this Kickstarter came out for Goddess. It reached a funding goal of £450,000, or in US that's $732,000. And we were,
you made videos didn't you?
Pardon?
You made videos on that, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. We made video. We were backers on the Kickstarter. We were reeled in like 2 juicy fish, like Peter Molyneux. So we were watching his video, like, oh my god, this is gonna be great. Like, Peter, we love you. Just like we love the Fable games. You'd lied to us so many times, but we believe you, Peter. Honestly, if Peter released a video next week saying he was like gonna do a new theme hospital, I'd be putting my money down on the table straight away.
Talking about Mr. Molyneux, Vale, we've talked about this previously, but we've been so unlucky and cursed of meeting this man.
He doesn't want to meet the TheSneakyBros. Like 3 conventions we've been to, he's booked to be there, and he was like a no-show. Eurogamer, he was meant to be there, and like we were in line to like go see him. Like, oh my god, Peter Molyneux is going to be great. Didn't show up. And then he was meant to be at Minecon in Paris when we were there. We're like, oh my god! To be honest, it was like a side. It wasn't really that well advertised as well. This Peter Molyneux appearance, because it was like in a side room of the convention. There was just a board outside, and we saw it. It was like we were like Peter Molyneux. Like, oh my god! And we were there and just like, and then someone came up and was like, oh, he's ill. Well, sorry, we're not doing it. I'm like, oh god damn it,
Peter Molyneux. If you're watching this, mate, you've let me down. You've really let me down. I am appalled with your sayings and things, but I love you at the same time. I really love you, man.
But anyway, so the story behind Goddess, for those who don't know, it's inspired by Populous, which is one of Peter's early games, and it's an RTS where you can pinch and pull the land, as in Peter's words, and you can craft it, because obviously this was during the Minecraft hype. He was trying to get involved in that.
Can you do his voice a bit more, please? That was really nice.
And you can do what you want with your little people, and you craft the world, and your little people go, and it's kind of an RTS / civilization / not quite sure what it really is game.
It's pretty much a Clay Soldiers.
In fact, it was, which is why we were all over it, because it was basically a Clay Soldiers game. And yeah, it came out to it had sort of two very mixed launches. It had the launch on PC, which was the main game, which was because he was like, we're going to develop the game together, you're going to give us feedback. So it came out in early access, and it was one of the first big early access flops, actually. It came out in early access, and it wasn't that great, didn't really have much going for it. But then a freemium iOS version came out a couple of years later in 2014, and it was a massive hit. It was the most downloaded game on iOS for a long time, and it for a mobile game, it was actually half decent. But for what was the initial promised product, it was nowhere near what it should have been. Obviously, the guy that won Curiosity never got to be God, and have his thing taken over.
He's still not received his prize all these years.
Yeah. Peter Molyneux abandoned the project back in 2015. He basically just he even did a media blackout for ages. He was so embarrassed by the whole thing. They released, after a new lead developer joined, who has since left, they released Goddess Wars in 2016, which is a real-time strategy that, here we go, was free for everyone until you got past the first level, and then it made you pay to unlock the rest.
Wow.
And everyone just went absolutely crazy. They removed it the day after. It was like, whose stupid idea was that? Like, sorry, 22 Cans.
It had to be
My hat's off to anyone who develops a game, because it's hard work developing games. And
I'd be interested to know which had more downloads, the Goddess mobile app or Curiosity.
that's an interesting one. We could probably Google the stats, but I can't be bothered.
Because
It'd be interesting to know if your advert for the game was more popular than the game itself.
Yeah, because obviously the idea behind 22 Cans Studio, it's now not on their website actually, but I remember seeing it. It was called 22 Cans for 22 projects. Now, they've not finished their second project at the moment, so it's going to be about it's going to be the year 3000 before they get out the rest of their projects.
21 and a half projects.
21 and a half projects, yeah. 21 and a half cans. They have released their third project, actually, that has gone very well, actually, the Trail, excuse me, which is a mobile game. Nothing like...
played a bit of it. It didn't draw me.
Yeah, it's a story sort of driven, really nice art style to it, actually. Okay, I've not played it either, but that's enough of 22 Cans, because Jack's...
I was just about to say, we're talking way too much about Peter now.
Getting really upset at the moment.
They're such fanboys, it's amazing.
I know, I'm really upset, so let's move on.
I filmed a video that didn't go out on the channel, actually, in the end, and it was kind of like, it was the history of Peter Molyneux, and I emailed Peter Molyneux for a statement in the video, and he gave me he emailed me back, and I was like, it was like the best day of my life, Peter Molyneux. I looked at my email box, I got an email from Peter Molyneux.
You've got an exclusive from the god.
I didn't put it on the channel, yeah.
Get out! Why are you part of the TheSneakyBros? Lunch money, looking like a spot with the sneak. There's a spot right now.
I could jump from one dying channel to another.
Oh!
What is going on?
Absolute savage.
You just upset the 50 views this video is gonna get. You've upset those viewers now.
No, it's perfectly fine. I'll stay with 404. Blaine's been talking about filming some more videos, and I'm totally on board for that. If we make some World videos, I'll be completely up for it.
Obviously,
he's got a guest on now, so he's got to plug his own channel.
Oh yeah,
what channel's that? Oh, 404.
How many times is he going to say it? Could someone do a tally in the comments section? How many times 404 games not found's mentioned? on
I'm
YouTube.
pretty
Buy
sure
our
that's the
merch.
third time, and you've said it twice.
Back to
You know what?
You
Sorry,
guys still
sorry,
have
sorry.
merch?
I
'Cause I
just
remember you releasing merch.
yeah, we did actually. Yeah, I think we were the only ones that bought our merch. We bought our own merch.
no, wait. Someone did buy a pillow once.
Someone bought a pillow.
Someone
We had
bought a
pillows.
pillow.
We had pillows.
Oh yeah. We had a pillow with our faces on. It was ridiculous. Someone bought it. Like, I'm sorry, but you've got mental problems. Sorry.
Oh
Go
dear.
ahead.
Anyway, Star
We're not
Wars.
getting sponsored. It's fine.
We're not getting sponsored by anybody at the moment.
I really want. I can't wait for this podcast to start like in like a year and just be like they're trying to do a Blue Apron advert read. Well, Zick like is just not having any of it.
That product. Sorry.
Oh, for God's sake! I'm gonna have to edit this now. You said that, Jess.
Yes, you are. You have hit record, right?
Yes, yeah, I've hit record.
Okay, fine. Carry on.
Star Wars 1313. That was a game
Oh,
that
bloody hell.
think Knights of the Old Republic and Battlefront, and it was pretty much around. It got deprived because them games were out at the time, and it was cancelled. It was unveiled during E3 2012, and it was a story that was going to be set to follow Boba Fett, allowing players to bounty hunt their way around Coruscant. Which sounds amazing, to be honest. Just like, sadly, when Disney acquired Star Wars Universe, they shut down LucasArts and ended development. Obviously, there's still plenty of rumours of other Star Wars games coming out, especially because it's been made such a hash of recently. The Star Wars open world game is still heavily rumoured. Sounds great. Looking forward to that. But Old Republic is still a decent game. It's still got a good following online.
Really? I thought it flopped a little bit because they pumped a lot of money into that game.
Oh yeah, but I played it quite a bit actually. I remember when it came out. I really enjoyed it.
I remember creating a couple of characters. It was a very enjoyable MMO.
Yeah, it was
Did
good.
you ever play it, Lunch?
I played a little bit, I must admit, but I'm gonna be contrary to popular opinion here.
I know what you're gonna say. Yes.
I don't like Star Wars.
It's like Star Wars. Get out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about. We've had this conversation before. So it was a bit awkward.
Go on.
Yeah,
Tell
I
us
find that there are different people who like there are multiple different sci-fi shows out there, and everyone has their favorite one. And mine is massively Stargate. I'm much more of a Stargate.
Stargate, so not even Star Trek. Stargate.
Nope,
Ugh.
I like Stargate.
I feel a bit ill.
Space
mate.
show.
Um,
I'm not a big space guy. I'm a much more of a fantasy sort of guy.
That is weird to me. I would have thought you would have been more of a spacey guy. That's weird. Okay.
Here we go. Here's a game that was cancelled. So it was cancelled, didn't come out, ended development. Prey 2.
Prey 2, yes. I don't really know what happened with that one, but I know that Bethesda bought the rights of Prey and they brought out their own version.
So yeah, Prey 2. Obviously, there is a game called Prey 2 out right now. If anyone's thinking, what, that's out? Yeah, the original Prey 2 never saw the light of day. It would have been a first-person shooter that was focusing on human bounty hunters and the alien world exodus that is Prey 2. It was going to be out by around 2011. As you said, in 2012, Bethesda got the rights to the game. They denied rumours of Prey 2 cancellation, but saying it was merely delayed. And obviously, recently, Prey 2 has come out and it's been a full hit. So it was kind of got cancelled and kind of didn't. Right?
Yeah, I played Prey. My wife and I bought it, and it's a fantastic game. You know, it is quite short. You know, it's not a massively long game, but they're coming out with a multiplayer version of the game where it's kind of like hide and seek, where you get to turn into little objects and you become the.
Oh yes, it's Prop Hunter, isn't it? It's basically like Prop Hunter, which is a really good game actually, mate. I quite enjoy playing that.
I'm pretty sure they said they're doing it in VR as well, so I'm really looking forward to it now.
Ah, nice.
Prop Hunt in VR.
That would be interesting.
Anyway.
That has the prospects to be truly terrifying with that game as well.
Yeah.
Transform right in front of someone's face.
Oh yeah, the horror games in VR just take it to another level.
I was gonna
that
say,
that roller coaster game you got me playing? What is that? What's that called?
Yeah, Rush of Blood.
Rush of
Incredible
Blood,
game.
yeah. That when I was over with Ziklag in America, he was like, "Oh, play this Rush of Blood." And I'm not a big horror game fan. I'm not a big horror movie fan, to be honest. I am a massive pussy. I'll happily admit it. I'm not into horrors. Just like, I'm just not about that. I always watch comedies and stuff like that. It's kind of my bag. But yeah, it's yeah. You know what? I actually really did enjoy that though. It was despite the initial fear. Like it's one of those games where you I'm looking at the corner of the screen the whole time, but that's where something pops up because it's VR. You can't hide in VR. So, Rush of Blood, though, it's really good game in VR actually.
Unless you close your eyes. I was going to say, when you were talking about Resident Evil 2, I thought you were going to bring up the point that they weren't bringing out a VR version of this Resident Evil new game. But I played the VR version of the newest Resident Evil, and oh my god, you've not played that game until you played it in VR.
I think I was with you when your wife bought it, and we were sat there while she was playing it, and we were scared, and we didn't have the VR headset on.
It's oh my god, I played the start of it, and you know what I'm like. I'm a squealer. I hate horror. I was slowly going around corners like, I was shaking. Real. You know what? I would love to see Sendude play that game in VR. That is content. Money. Content right there.
I think my entire favorite moment of any video ever is when he gets caught by Slender and just holding his face, screaming. It's like the screen flashes. That's my favorite video ever.
What's your thoughts on horror games?
I really enjoy them, but I'm similar to you. I don't go out of my way for them. I've been convinced to play them, and every time I do, I get terrified. I'm gonna get.
You know what? I was going to mention Damned actually. We used to collectively play that quite a bit, and that was good fun. Like multiplayer horror games, there needs to be more of them. Just where you literally one of you's the monster, and you just kind of pop out in people's faces and hear them scream down the microphone. It was great. It's good fun.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, they popped up recently. For example, you've got Dead by Daylight, I believe it's called, where
I played that.
Yeah, is it good?
The only problem that I had with that game was, and I don't know if it's been fixed now. I must admit I've not gone back to it, but there was no party system. So when me and Verlaine bought it, we had to go 3-2-1 queue, 3-2-1 and queue until we end up in the same lobby.
Oh really?
It came out of a party system, but only if you were making a full private party. You couldn't party with two friends and go into a game.
That's weird.
Were they on meds when they were creating this game?
It was really weird, but it led to some frustration of me and Verlaine literally going 3-2-1 queue.
Well, yeah, that's just
trying to get into the same lobby.
Gaming's all about doing it with your mates, and when a game is trying to push that apart, you're just ruining the community.
I wonder if there was a worry that it might be one of you'll pick the monster and your friend will pick a survivor and the monster just instantly win because one friend might tell them where it is or something. I don't know if that was the worry, but it was really strange that you couldn't queue with your friends unless you had a full group and made a private room.
Yeah, that's how not to make a game.
It was a really, really fun game though, and I'm guessing it'll be fixed now because there's been so many updates and they've actually had some quite big collabs with some pretty fit. You can get Freddy and stuff in their car,
Yes,
so that's a pretty big collabs with some famous horror.
It's a very interesting concept for a game, isn't it? Where one person is the monster and the rest of you are trying to get away and find a clue to escape. It's a very interesting mechanic. I love Damned.
I had a moment in Dead by Daylight where I actually realized I was the blonde horror trope where I was running, and you see every horror film and they start running and it's that scary movie where there's a sign saying pure safety and another sign saying certain death, and I was running from the monster on this level and there was a basement full of meat hooks and a door, and I ran straight down the stairs into the basement full of meat hooks and just obviously got killed, and I went, oh my god, I would die first in a horror film. Why did I run down there?
That's great. I love that.
I've got some more games that were pulled the plug. Fallout Online was in development.
I was going to bring this up actually.
Yeah,
wow.
So Fallout Online was obviously there's the new Fallout, which is going to be basically Fallout Online. but it was in development between 2007 2009. It wasn't being developed by Bethesda. It was being developed by a company called Masthead Studios, and they were the team doing the creative control with it, and they had the license from Bethesda Softworks. During development, they'd not done a lot during development, which was kind of the start of its downfall. Really, they'd done a network meta puzzle. They'd got all the structure and the code system down for the game, and they claimed the map was going to be some 65,000 square miles.
Wow.
The terrain, which had textures and objects in already, and game zones and stuff like that, and that was a bit of a crafting mechanic. And that was it, really, to be honest. They believe it was going to cost them $100 million.
Okay, yeah, you can see why they didn't make it. But I was going to bring up the suggestion of, do you reckon because the whole Fallout 76 thing, maybe Bethesda had something to do with it? Maybe they were like, they don't do that.
The story at the time was back in 2000. It was in 2009. They made a move to resync the Fallout license from them. Interplay received a notice that they're ending the trademark agreement because they were in breach, failing to commence full-scale development, basically, and they were not securing funding for the game. So Bethesda pulled the plug because they want all their games to be top drawer and stuff like that. Then Project 13, as it's called now, because Interplay are still making this game, but they've just removed all Fallout references from it. It went to court and everything like that, and it ended up with an out-of-court settlement with Fallout Online being cancelled, but allowing Project 13 to continue development, which obviously Bethesda didn't want. But that's... I don't think Project 13, did it ever come out?
I want to talk about the original devs of the Fallout universe, how some of them went on to make Wasteland 2, I believe. And I recently bought that because I've been meaning to play that for a long time. So
is it any good? I'd seen that.
No idea. I remember playing it
yet.
back in Eurogamer at one point, and not being very impressed. But I bought it, and I think I'm going to take a weekend where I just sweat it out.
Yeah, it looks like I'd seen the trailers for it, and I almost bought it at one point actually, but I thought I'll just wait for Fallout 76. But yeah, Fallout Online was killed off. It was about to come out and never did. I think one of the more popular cancellations that everyone kind of thinks would have been Silent Hill game back in 2015.
Yes.
That trailer was so incredibly well received.
Yeah.
Like the playable demo. Everyone was making videos of it. Everyone.
Wasn't versions of the demo that people downloaded, weren't their consoles going for a lot of money online just because people just wanted to play the demo for it? I'm pretty sure that's the thing.
They completely took it off everything, so you couldn't get it anymore. It was kind of like the whole Flappy Bird situation where people were trying to sell their phones with Flappy Bird in it when they took it off the dev store.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Nuts, that, isn't it? That people paid that much money just for a demo.
Yeah, it's I can't believe that got shelved.
But it's been moved into what it is now, with Norman Reedus being the star of, what's it called? Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, yeah, it's what it's called now.
It looks interesting.
That looks trippy as hell. Hell. Every time I watch more footage from that game, I have no idea what's going on. But I'm not upset.
Still don't know
I'm just there like, okay, keep giving me more. I'll watch more. I'll work it out as I go.
In other news this week, PUBG apologises as an offensive Japanese mask causes controversy in the game. Obviously, this report I'm reading from Digital Spy claims it as the rival to Fortnite. It was the initial inspiration behind Fortnite. But
you can still be a rival if you come afterwards.
I suppose. But it was originally used by the Japanese warlords during the Imperial Japanese Army and during the sieges in World War II. And basically it's come out, and it's quite controversial actually, that one of the AI bots was also named Unit 731, which alludes to a division of the Japanese army. This is PUBG Mobile, by the way, because obviously there's no II in the main version of PUBG. They've since apologised, and they spoke to the BBC and just basically said they got rid of the mask. It's a stupid little. So some developers not done his research, basically.
Well, I can't speak for myself, can I? Because I'm not Japanese or I don't know anything about that kind of thing. But it seems like it was a good intention, maybe that they had in mind, that they were honoring, maybe that they were thinking that they were going to honor the whole thing.
Sometimes as well, you have to wonder if someone sees a cool-looking mask and go, "I'm going to put that in my game," and then they don't, like Val said, they don't do the research and. A
bit like us,
you put that in your game, and someone goes, "Whoa, why is that in your game?" It's like, because I thought it looked cool. It's like, you don't know what I need to do at all.
Yeah, there was probably no malicious intent behind it anyway.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah,
I was doing some research. One of the games that I saw that didn't get made, which just because I remember having so much controversy around it as well, was just Fez 2.
Did you see the documentary of the making of the original Fez?
I didn't know.
I didn't know there was a documentary.
Yes, there's a really cool documentary about the making of Super Meat Boy and Fez. And the creator of Fez, he's a bit of a controversial character, isn't he? He's very loud. He likes to speak his mind. He doesn't really give a damn, and he's a bit of a tripwire kind of guy. Like, if you say the wrong thing to him, he will go off on one. So I believe you were going to say something like Fez 2. Like, after the month of its announcement, he just pulled the plug, I think.
Yeah, he just got. Didn't he get tired of people complaining about stuff on Twitter, and he just literally put out a tweet saying, "That's it, Fez 2 cancelled, bye." And it was like, wait, what?
Talk about being a baby, huh?
I mean, if you don't want to make a game, it's your choice to not make a game. But Fez 1 was so incredibly popular that it's just walking away from just so much guaranteed revenue. There were so many people who bought Fez 2. It was awful.
It was such a unique style of game, wasn't it? How it was 2D, and then as you span the camera around, it turned into 3D. It was trippy.
It spawned a lot of clones. There's been quite a few like puzzle games that use that similar sort of idea now of traveling around the outside of objects.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, it was even. I think Mario Odyssey even has little aspects of you going around the outside of stuff, like when you're in the 2D platformer stuff. Obviously, maybe didn't get the idea from there, but it's still just. It happened like one of the puzzles. You walk around the outside of a wall and you're still in 2D mode, and I was like, "Oh, okay, potential little nod." But just to walk away with because you got upset with what someone said on Twitter, it's just so strange to me.
Have you ever played Fez Vale?
No, I've never played it actually, so I can't really comment too much on it. Lunchman, you might be able to comment more on this one. Warlords of Draenor. The expansion that came out in 2014 for World of Warcraft, maybe. Yeah. There was a lot of rumours when it came out at the time that a lot of content was actually cut from that, although it still came out. There were a lot of things that they were expecting to come out and didn't into the game. I don't know what the community was saying at the time.
When that game first came out, all the community was saying was, "How come this game is so broken?" They decided to release a garrison system, which was on paper a good idea, but in reality meant that on every single server, either the Horde or Alliance, you had hundreds of people trying to load into their own little instance bit that you didn't walk through a door. Just as you got close to it, was meant to slowly meld to your own little bit of paradise.
Wow.
So for about, I think it was about 2.5 weeks, you just couldn't go there. And because they built the game around it, you'd constantly have quests that took you back to your garrison because you were a garrison leader. So you'd be there, you'd do everything you could do until the only quest you had left was, right, return back to your garrison. You'd be like, let's see if it works.
Was it ideal to play the game at non-peak times?
Definitely.
Try and complete the quest?
It got to the point where everyone had their own little trick of trying to get back into the garrison. I used to walk, actually put my character on walk and try and get there slowly, try and give as much time to load as possible. Because you just get stuck in an infinite loop of just either falling to the floor a little bit or just glitching, or you just wouldn't be able to move your character. It was really bad. It was a really bad launch essentially.
You were gonna probably mention this at some point. Is the whole Blizzard thing? Is there was massive rumors and confirmed development of Titan, which was going to be the next big thing from Blizzard.
Yeah, they scrapped it. I think basically they thought, yes, it's time to release another MMO. Get my words out properly. And they were developing it 2012, 2013. I think it got towards the end of its development cycle, and I think, as I understand it, that was the sort of time when MMOs were really falling off. There's been a bit of a resurgence recently with MMOs, but it's and when I say MMOs, I mean like games like RuneScape, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think they kind of just were going to bring it out at the wrong time. I think it was just going to be a sci-fi version of it, and sci-fi MMOs just seem to fail consistently.
Yeah, I mean, Lunch Money can probably confirm this a bit more than myself, but I believe Titan more or less turned into what Overwatch is today. There's a few maps from Titan.
There are subtle nods to it, and like there are subtle nods to that universe. But I think the problem you have with a lot of sci-fi MMOs in general, or the problem I view them, is scale. When you've got like a fantasy universe in a world, you can be like, right, it's all set around these 6 islands on this planet, and then your expansion, you just pick a new island. But when you turn around to someone and go, right, I've got a spaceship and I can go to 8 different worlds, and you're like, awesome. But each world is like 10 kilometers. You're like, what?
Yeah,
it doesn't. You don't get that amazing feeling of being on a planet.
Yeah, it's hard to balance that, isn't it?
So you don't get that feeling of epicness.
But I believe Star Wars did it right. I feel like they did.
Star Wars is fantastic. I love that universe they created. Going into a bar, hearing the cantina music, that's all I need.
Before you probably have a few more to touch upon.
I think I've got one more I wanted to mention.
Okay, well, how about you hold on to that thought for a little while, and we play a little game.
Oh yeah, cue the jingle.
Cue that jingle. It's time to play Guess the Game with the Sneaky Bros, and occasionally a guest that has nothing better to do with their life. Alright, let's play.
Yes, this week we do have a guest that has nothing better to do with their life. So here we go. Welcome to Guess the Game with the Sneaky Bros.
Oh god, I'm playing? I thought I was just going to sit here in silence and let you two play.
No,
okay, sure, let's do this.
And in fact, I got it. In fact, I got it last week. I'm just going to kind of sit back and let you take the reins on this, Lunch. And if I get it, I'll jump in.
I really hope. So I was talking to Ziklag earlier about my gaming history and the fact that I was a console player until like the age of 18. So if this is an old PC game, I am done. I'm not going to be good at this.
Well, that can be one of your questions. So, guess the game. Just like as you were a kid, you probably had that little flipboard where you could ask a question and see if that was the person that they had and they were thinking of. This is Guess the Game version, where I'm thinking of a game. You have 5 minutes to guess what game I'm thinking of. You can ask me any questions. I can only reply with yes or no. I've changed up the rules a little bit here because I felt like it was a bit too easy. So I've made it a little bit harder. So now, you've still got 5 minutes, but you have to request for a clue. And when you request a clue, I knock off a minute. You've got 3 clues in total. A whole minute. I will knock off the timer.
Sure.
So I've got 3 clues in total. I honestly think you're going to get the game because it's pretty easy, I think. But I kind of did this at last second because I'm lazy and I don't give a toss about this. But this is a shambles already. So we're going to see what happens with these new rules. So I'm going to say that you can request the clues at any time, but I will knock off a minute. Okay, so hang on, let me bring up the timer here. Let me go to good old Google timer. Very efficient.
Other search engine timers are available.
1 second. I'm gonna go to Google timer also.
So he knows. I feel like I need to get involved in this. Cue mechanical keyboard.
Don't you trust me? But what I will do is, if I read a clue or if you request a clue, I will stop the timer for you. So do not worry. You will still get time to listen to me ramble on.
Okay.
My ideas. So are you ready to play Guess the Game?
As I'll ever be. I'm ready to be the first loser of Guess the Game.
Oh, okay. Well, here you go. Your time starts now. 5 minutes on the clock.
Okay. Is it a console exclusive?
No.
Okay. Was it a PC exclusive?
No.
Okay, cool. So it could be cross-platform.
Cross-platform. Yeah, there you go.
Did it come out in like the last 5 years?
Oh, no.
Okay. Is it by Peter Molyneux?
It is not by the infamous guard, Peter Molyneux.
Oh.
30 seconds have gone. Would you like a clue? Would you want to keep going?
Yeah, I'll go for a clue.
Want a clue? So your first clue, here we go. I'm going to stop the timer. So let me just put Google timer in again. This is so bloody scuffed already. I'm going to put 4 minutes.
He's actually got 3 minutes and 21 seconds left. If you
really?
take off a minute,
Yeah.
he was.
I'm
Why are you
already.
doing this to me?
Yeah, you sabotaged your own team. Okay,
I was going to stay quiet.
why am I hosting this? Okay, your first clue. Listen up, guys. Here we go. Your first one. I like to freefall for however long I like. I'm starting the timer. I like to freefall for however long I like. Does that ring a bell?
Not at all. Okay, let's keep going. Is it a first-person shooter?
Oh no, I've not really been thinking too much, to be honest.
I'm gonna say no on that one.
But there are guns.
No.
Is it sci-fi?
No, isn't it?
No.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Freefall. It's not sci-fi.
You can press another clip.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go for a clue.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the timer. So we stopped at 2 minutes 50 seconds. So I'm now gonna put it at 1 minute 50 seconds. Oh, this is getting more tense, isn't it? Okay. Your second clue is, I'm the only one that can see the back of my head. That's a big clue. Wow, look at that. You're going to kick yourself if you don't get this. I'm going to start the timer. You got 1 minute 50 seconds. Vale, do you have anything? Have a talk with each other.
Yeah, no one. What?
Would you like me to read the clues out again?
No, it's
I like
fine.
free for all for as long as I like, and I'm the only one that can see the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Is it medieval?
Say again?
Medieval?
No.
Skeleton.
I give you one more clue, and then that means you got 25 seconds.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, I'll pause it. Okay, chaps, you've got 24 seconds on the clock. I'm going to give you your final.
Why did we lose a second? You said 25 seconds, and you put 24 on the clock.
All right, I'll give you another second.
Oh, now that the Vale's involved, he doesn't want the timer to go down.
Jesus God, this is scuffed as hell. Okay, listen up, folks. Have a little talk with each other as well. Pick each other's brains. You've got 25 seconds. I'm going to start the clock soon. The very last clue is, my creator controls the passage of fluid or air. I'm starting that 25 seconds.
Is it Portal?
It's Portal! Congratulations to Lunch Money getting it in 20 seconds.
I thought it was a Valve game. You know when you said I can see the back of my head? I think, you on about the Valve logo that pops up at the start.
Yeah. Wow, Lunch Money. Congratulations on that, my friend. You win absolutely nothing.
I win not being the first person to lose this game.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's an honour in itself. So yeah, that was an interesting segment. I've got one more thing I wanted to talk about in terms of games that didn't quite make it. Going back, reeling back the clock a little bit further on this one. Stellar Dawn, which was going to be an upcoming title, originally known as Mechscape, the project from Jagex Studios. It was going to be the next, similar to what Blizzard were going to do. They got a really successful MMO. They wanted to do another one. And again, sci-fi. There's something about sci-fi games that seem to flop. I mean, No Man's Sky, Stellar Dawn, Titan, all this sort of stuff. What is it with that genre? Star Wars, Battlefront 2 at least anyway. All flops. But the game is expected to release in 2011. However, in March 2012, they announced the development was on pause, and then I think they said development would resume in 2014, 2015, but there's been no word on whether that's actually official yet or anything like that. I think everyone's kind of pretty much settled that it's probably either dead or there's just a couple of people kind of tinkering with the idea and seeing if it's working. There's a lot of I think there was a lot of work that had gone into it. There was a lot of concept art. There was all the videos you can see. It's very much it's running in RuneScape, just reskinned and stuff like that for the trailers and stuff like that. But it was going to run very similar to RuneScape. It was a top-down click MMORPG, but with a space theme rather than the fantasy theme that RuneScape currently sits with.
Jagex are weird, aren't they? Like they have a really weird habit of creating games. It seems like they've had this one-hit wonder with RuneScape, and they've tried other ideas. And
they tried FunOrb, and they really tried to push FunOrb when it came out. And I think they've recently just shut it down, haven't they? To some controversy, actually, because I think there was one game on FunOrb, and I can't remember the name of it now, that had a bit of like a hardcore following. And
yeah, it was that magic one, wasn't
it? That's it.
Yes,
that's the one.
It was a bit like Worms, but with like spells and stuff.
Yes, it was. I remember playing that when it was when it was out. Actually, yeah, that sounds like it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to talk about sort of finishing off the podcast, talking about the gaming industry as a whole and flops and stuff like that. And so to make sure things aren't flopping and stuff like that, that the gaming industry is probably going to have to adapt and change things up. We've already seen it change rapidly in the last few years with a move to multiplayer only for many of the games, funded by microtransactions, with some free-to-play games being the highest grossing games in the world. Yes, we're looking at you, League of Legends, and Fortnite, which has now grossed $1 billion. Q.
Oh, really? It's hit that
seriously already?
$1 billion in gross revenue.
I believe,
God damn!
That's amazing, considering how it was originally meant to be a zombie, like build your own base game.
Yeah.
And they just kind of they just went, you know what, we're gonna do what they're doing over there, and they just ran with it, and they've done such an amazing job. Honestly, they're like the wacky PlayerUnknowns, which they found their niche and just made it their own really, really well. So that's really impressive.
Free to play, and they got it down with the model. They took a gamble, because I remember when they announced it, they weren't ever going to keep it always free to play. From what I understood, it was only going to be free to play, like for the beta or the demo, whatever they were calling it. And yeah, that was it. It's always been free to play ever since. Speaking of betas and demos and stuff like that, don't you miss demos coming out for games? Everything's called like open beta now and stuff like that, but they essentially are just live demos of the game. Like,
yeah.
Do you remember like demo discs and stuff like that? You'd always get a gaming mag and stuff like that. Yeah. I remember, you'll probably remember this, Lunch Money, especially as a console player. Demo discs were included in every gaming magazines and stuff like that.
Demo discs.
Yeah.
I still like demos though. Like I've actually just bought a copy of Octopath Traveler for the Nintendo Switch, and that came with I played it because I played a 3-hour demo. It reminded me like the old like Dragon Quest style demos.
Oh yeah.
You get the game and they go, right, play it 3 hours, and after 3 hours we're going to kick you off. But then a little message pops up and says, hey, if you buy a copy of the game, you saved it, it'll just transfer over to the regular game. And that's
a great way to get you hooked.
That cemented the purchase for me, because obviously it's a massive RPG, so I'm expecting to put much close to 100 hours into it. So 3 hours of free content just got me to drop £50 for a game, and that was no regrets.
No regrets. I love it. Is there any more flops or any news stories, Lunch?
It's not necessarily a flop, but just because you guys have been talking about the Battlegrounds and all that sort of stuff, have you guys seen Totally Accurate Battlegrounds?
I have actually.
Heard about it.
I've seen a few streamers play it.
Fantastic looking game. So it's just a stupid ragdoll physics battleground game, but that like similar theory. They made it free to play. I think if you downloaded it when the first, I think it was like a couple of 100,000 people that downloaded it first got it for free, and now it's $3.99. But it's just they've done the wall shrinking, but better than any other game I've seen. Because obviously the blue wall of death isn't really that scary, and if you've got enough meds and enough stims, you can hang outside it for ages. But literally in in Totally Accurate Battleground, it's a wall. It comes down from the ceiling, from the air, slams into the ground, and then grows towards each other. If you're outside the wall, you're outside. And I've seen like a couple of occasions where it's led to people like full on Indiana Jonesing, running down the middle of the walls as they grow together, trying to get into the zone.
Interesting.
The game itself looks pretty messed up because it is meant to be like a broken ragdoll physics version, which is it's silly. But just that wall aspect, I was like, that's better than any other Battlegrounds in terms of having a wall. It's so cool.
I wanted to touch upon. Oh yeah, we we touched upon Fortnite. You know, Fortnite. Google algorithms. Fortnite best clips and plays. Sorry, I want to get up there with the views, but I want to touch upon how the disc versions of Fortnite that were available are going for over $200 online because they don't print them anymore. Isn't that nuts? How just the original copy of the game, you know, you can play it for free online, but people are paying over $200 just for a physical copy of Fortnite.
To be fair, that happened with. I mean, there was a reason to do it with League of Legends. If you pre-ordered, it was weird because no one had it because you were essentially pre-ordering a free-to-play game. So no one pre-ordered it, but the people that did got Black Alistair, Human Rise, and there was another skin as well, which became and still are the rarest skins in the game.
You have Human Rise, don't you?
I have Human Rise. I was a scumbag and went to a skin sell site back when I was playing Rise non-stop.
That makes it pretty cool having it though, like.
Yeah, because they banned skin sales not long after I purchased it. Actually, they stopped. You can't put key codes into the game anymore. Yeah, they give out skins via different means now.
Interesting.
But, yeah. I think we're pretty much it for this week, unless you got anything more, Lunch.
We all tired.
I'm just curious now whether you have an outro jingle after sit silent.
We do.
Oh, we talked about it, didn't we?
Didn't you read the brief? Didn't you speak to our agent first? Didn't the agent go through it with you? Our booking agent. I'm gonna have to fire her.
You got a brief? I got like a 40-word Facebook Messenger message.
Shut up.
You didn't get the Facebook message.
My
Your wife did.
I am Stone Age. I don't use Facebook.
He's one of the cool kids. I don't have Facebook. Thank you very much for joining Cool Story Bro. Been episode 3. 3 weeks on the trot, we got an episode out, and 2 days on the trot you get a Sneaky Bros video, so how about that? Thanks to Lunch Money from 404 Games for joining us. Do go and check out their videos online.
In the description.
Link in the description. 404 Games. Basically, what was your channel? You just played games. You didn't really have a set thing you did, really, did you?
Games. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Didn't our biggest series was actually Enjoy the Little Things, the creation of Elaine. So
I love that series. I'm actually in that series as well. So
you're in the series a lot.
Go and watch it.
Yeah, that was enjoyed. It was playing DayZ, wasn't it? Or was it all games, wasn't it?
It was as long as it was zombies. So
yes,
because obviously Enjoy the Little Things is a rule from Zombieland. So it's transcended across quite a few different zombie games, and we essentially did what a lot of people do. We made our own mini games within those games.
Yeah, and Zombieland 2 has just been announced as well, eh? You excited for that?
I am.
All the original cast are in it as well, so it's going to be good fun.
Right, on that note, we're going to cue the outro. We'll see you next week. And let's smash that like button, you know. Join our Discord community as well if you want to keep up to date with... click the bell icon, yeah. You know what? I actually do need to remember to keep telling people that because I only just clicked it on my own channel the other day, so...
What?
So,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Just in case you forget if you've uploaded a video.
No, because like, if you upload one, like, so I got the notification for your Clay Soldiers cinematic.
Maybe we can get a better guest than Lunch Money next week as well.
Ooh.
I don't think it'd be that hard.
I'll speak to our booking agent and see what they can come up with.
You've been
I was that guy who was available on a Sunday night. So you know.
Should we just?
We've got a massive lineup, Lunch Money. You were prime. We were like.
See, what our plan is just to go through all the 404 game guys, like next week. just rotate that just every week. It just be a different guest from 404.
Don't worry, one week we can just do a guest one for you, and neither you two will be there, and it'll just be us.
That'd be great. Yeah, takeover podcast.
Yeah.
I'm game for a week off. In fact, you guys just do the podcast. That'd be great. Just like
because knowing our fans, they'll probably be like, "Yeah, keep these guys on." I'm all bugging up.
Maybe they'll get a partnership and a sponsorship in the first week.
This is sponsored by Blue Apron.
I'll be all up in the Blue Apron.
As always, this podcast is not sponsored by any website. So you can. So if you want to go to audible.com,
please.
If you want to go to audible.com, go there and listen to books, but you ain't getting a discount from us. And if you want to create a great website using Squarespace, then go and do that.
Or if you want a good shave, you can Dollar Shave Club.
Shave Club, yeah.
Descending to chaos.
Right, we'll see you next week. Bye, my
Do
merch.
the outro because we're ruining our career already. This is like the Titanic.
You know what? I almost pressed stop record then before I pressed the outro.
You are terrible. The worst developer. I mean...
Developer? The outro's playing. Goodbye.
See you later. Thank you, Lux.
Thank you for having me.
That's been a pleasure. Episode 2 took him like 3 hours to render and 3 hours to upload. It was ridiculous.